All right, third graders. It is day 3 of writing our personal narratives. Today we are going to learn how to write about a small moment in time. Over the past couple of days, I've read some really amazing writing. I can tell that this is a great group of young authors. I'd like for us to discuss another element of a great personal narrative, and that element is to write about a small moment in time. No one wants to read a list of daily events, and it's really difficult to write a personal narrative on an event that took place over multiple days or several days. To keep your narratives more manageable and meaningful, I want you to zoom in on one important event. For example, rather than writing about my whole vacation of going to the beach, I would write about the time I went parasailing. When I read to you Salt Hands, I want you to notice how the author doesn't share the girl's entire day, but only focuses on one special part of her day. And I mean when you listen to Salt Hands.
Hello and welcome back to another edition of Sankofa Read Aloud. Today's story is titled Salt Hands by Jane Chelsea Aragon, illustrated by Ted Rand. I hope that you enjoy this amazing story. In the night, I woke up. I heard something outside, like a rustle or a breath. There was a deer under the pear tree. The moon cast a shadow of his antlers on the ground. I went to the door. It was dark. It was still. The night air was warm. I didn't want to frighten the deer, so quietly I went in and sprinkled some salt into my hands. I tiptoed outside and stepped toward him silently. He looked at me. His eyes were big and brown. He watched me for a long time. I knelt on the grass. The deer flicked his white tail back and forth. I sang a song to him, softly, while he nibbled on fallen pears. He shook his head and twitched his ears. He was listening to my song. He moved closer to me. Cautiously, I whispered my song, then slowly I held out my hands. My heart beat quickly as I sat as still as the grass, as still as the night. I didn't want him to run away. There was not a sound as he came near me. He came very close. As I looked up at him, I could see into his eyes. They were gentle, and I knew he was not afraid. He lowered his head calmly and sniffed my hands. Then he tasted the salt. For a moment, I held my breath. I didn't move. His whiskers tickled my fingers. I kept my palms still. He licked my hands until the salt was all gone. When he finished, he raised his head and turned away, slowly, and walked off into the night.
Okay. Let me get my screen back to where I would like it to be. There we go. Your task. So you're going to think back to your heart map, and it's located in Class Kick, and you can always refer back to it. But you're going to select one of the topics that you would like to write about. Now, if you don't want to use one of your heart map topics, that is fine. This is going to be on the topic you write your entire personal narrative on. As you think about that trip or that outing, I need you to zoom in on the most important part of that day, which is going to be that small moment. You will use the graphic organizer located in ClassKick to complete your assignment today. So this is actually what the graphic organizer looks like. It says writing about my small moments. Your small moment goes in the center. Your details go around the outside. And because of this graphic organizer and the way that it's set up, you do not have to write in sentences. You can write one word through, like in the bigger circle, you can write phrases, but basically you fill in the details section without using sentences. So here is an example of mine. So I actually did go parasailing in Florida. So my details would be right on a boat, out in the ocean. The boat slows to a stop as I gradually decline back to the boat. I sit on the back of the boat until the wind and the parachute takes me up. I dipped my toes in the water because when I went parasailing, they actually dipped us a couple times. We saw dolphins. I ended up going with a friend, so I ended up parasailing with her. So I was flying with my friend. And then I also wrote down that they hook you to a harness. So those would be my details for my small moment in parasailing. Oops, sorry about that. All right, your task. Once again, you're going to go to Class Kick. You're going to complete your graphic organizer on the small moment that you choose. Now remember, this will be the topic you will write your entire personal narrative paper on, okay? So if you want to actually choose a topic that you have already chosen on day 1 or day 2, that might be a good choice. If you for some reason didn't like your day 1 topic or your day 2 topic, then obviously you can choose a different topic, okay? All right, remember you can go back and re-watch this video as many times as you want, and while you're watching it, you can pause at any point in time.